Guess I'll fly shotgun on this one right here. Got a lot of disjointed notes on this record, just some fascinating things. Song I want to talk to you about at number 32 on my fantasy playlist, October 17th, 1993. Joe, R&B, hip-hop. This is a classic early 90s record. It's kind of a cross between sort of like Rub You the Right Way by Johnny Gill, which came out in 1993, and This Is How We Do It by Montel Jordan, which was in 1995, and slower than these two records, but still got that same kind of that hip hop, that early 90s hip hop vibe to it. That's the only way I can describe it right now. Joe, the song at number 32 on my fantasy playlist, October 17th, 1993, I'm in Love. This is from his debut album called Everything. Here's the thing about Joe I didn't know about. Wrote down his real name, Joseph Thomas. He graduated from Opelika High School here in Alabama in 1990. That's down in Opelika. That's in southeastern Alabama, near Auburn, near Opp, in that area. Probably not too far from Columbus, Georgia, down in that area. But graduated from high school right here in Alabama. Signed a deal with Polygram Records in 1992 and came out with this first album, Everything. This record, I'm in Love, did not do too well. Wrote down its chart position somewhere in my notes, something like 72 or something like that. It did a little bit better. Oh, went to number 64. Went to number 64 on Billboard's Hot 100. Did better in England. Went to number 22 in the UK. I'm in Love by Joe, better known, had that massive hit in 1996, All the Things Your Man Won't Do, a ballad, and he came out with I Want to Know. That was in late 99, early 2000, around in there. That one went to number 4 on Billboard's Hot 100, probably one of his biggest crossovers. And there was Stutter, the funky Stutter, back in 2000 by Joe. He sang on a remix of I Don't Want to Be a Player No More by Big Pun. Remember that one back in 1997 or 98, trying to gin up some memories of these R&B records I remember listening to at the time. Now here's the deal about this album. One of the producers of the album, his name was Dave Jam Hall, otherwise known as Dave Hall. He is one of the producers of Mary J. Blige's debut album, What's the 411. Puff Daddy was the executive producer of that album by Mary J. Blige, but he was one of the producers who I guess worked under Puff Daddy. But he co-wrote a song that's coming up later on this countdown, Dream Lover by Mariah Carey. He co-wrote, and I believe he co-produced Fantasy by Mariah Carey, which was massive back in 1995. At least he might have co-produced a remix of Fantasy by Mariah Carey. That record was kicking. And another thing about Dave Hall, just trying to remember all these things that just blew me away. One song I really liked, R&B song I really liked back in that era, around late 94, early 95, Brownstone. Remember, all female group Brownstone. They came out with a song called If You Love Me. Lovely record. Used to watch that video on MTV. I think MTV ran the video along with BET. Remember Video Soul on BET? It was oh gosh, what's that guy? Donnie Simpson, I think, and Sherry Carter. Bring back those memories, man. Donnie Simpson, the guy had class. Remember Donnie Simpson on BET? Sherry Carter, she was something. Yes, she was. Back in the day. And I lost my train of thought. Oh, on that Brownstone record. This is what happens when you do it on the fly. You lose your train of thought and you just go all over the place. He co-wrote that song. Dave Hall co-wrote that song and produced it. Actually produced it, If You Love Me by Brownstone. Same guy who co-produced this album by Joe, Everything, his debut album in 1993. Another thing I found out about Joe, man, I couldn't believe it. Here comes another memory from. I remember when 95.7 in Birmingham. They're still there. They're still a jamming station, hip hop R&B station in Birmingham. They played the hell out of Brandy in 1998. This was the era of Master P, Mystical, and then Brandy. Brandy had this phenomenal album out. Might have been her second album called Never Say Never, and the song "This Boy Is Mine" she did with Monica, and Have You Ever, another massive hit off that album. That one written by Diane Warren. She had a song on that album. I thought it was an album cut, but it actually came out as a single called "Angel in Disguise." Remember listening to that on 95.7 back in the summer of 1998. Maybe a little later than that, but it was in that era. Joe sang backup on that song. Did some producing too, working with Escape. Joe sang on a record with Mariah Carey in the late 90s. And by the way, I believe it was Rodney Jerkins who produced. It was either I Don't Want to Be a Player or I Want to Know. Well, anyway, that's beside the point. We got some early Joe right here. Some smoking Joe on that R&B, man. That R&B tip. Joe, the song I'm in Love at number 32, up 5 from 37 on my fantasy playlist, October 17th, 1993.